So you may or may not have noticed, but it is certainly blush season on the makeup market. So many new blushes have launched recently, so I'm going to be loosely ranking the 10 most recent formulas that I've been testing. We have things ranging from affordable to luxury cream blushes and powder blushes. I said this was a loose ranking because it's a little difficult to do like a lineup of ranking for this because I have different formulas. Some are cream, some are powder, and then some have different colors within the same product, and some colors perform better than others. So I've placed these in 10 different places, but depending on which specific shade or what other products I'm pairing it with them being different mediums, the rankings could kind of switch and swatch and all of that. But I'm still gonna do it. So let's start off with number 10, my least favorite blush of these new formulas. Unfortunately, it has to go to a brand that I love, but the NARS Afterglow liquid blushes are not my jam. I am not a fan of these. I have 3 different colors. So these are like a liquid blush format. In the demo I am showing you, I'm wearing the shade Brazen. Of the 3, that one is my favorite shade. I just feel like it has a really wet, dewy look on the cheek, which I like, but it applies a little uneven in some cases. It can be a little bit patchy. And the 3 shades that I picked up, I have on my hand right here in order: Wanderlust, Orgasm, and Brazen. So of these 3 shades, Wanderlust is very unflattering on me, which is my own problem. That's fine. Orgasm, which is the classic NARS shade, disappears in my cheek. I have no pigment with this one, and Brazen can disappear as well, but it is buildable. It's my favorite and it's the most usable. However, I'm not really the biggest fan of the texture anyways. So yeah, these don't apply the smoothest on the cheek. I can make them work, but that being said, they are a luxury brand, pretty luxury anyways. A very expensive formula that just did not perform. There's so many other formulas that I prefer at a much more affordable price point. So moving on to number 9. In my initial haul / first impressions, I've really loved this product. But unfortunately, the more that I've used it, the less that I've liked it. I just found it a little difficult to work with. So this is from Huda Beauty and it's the lip blush. Let me just say, I love this on the lips. It is amazing to stain the lips like a true K-beauty formula, but in terms of using it as a blush, which is where I had to rank it, it was my 9th favorite. It just ended up at number 9. So it dries super fast because it is kind of like a stain, and so you have to use the very small applicator, which I think makes it difficult to spread out the product as quickly as you can. And then I like to use a brush because it has more surface area to spread the product out quicker. It just dries too fast. You can make it look good, but it is kind of a pain to apply and get an even application with how fast it dries. It also does literally stain the cheeks, which can be a good thing if you really want that long-lasting color. However, if you don't get a good application, you're kind of stuck with it. Like in my demo, I couldn't get this area right here to blend out really smooth, so it just looked patchy on me. So yeah, it's just not super easy to use. Love this on the lips. If this were a lip ranking, it would rank higher, but on the cheeks, it's a little too difficult to work with, which is a shame because the first time I used this, I loved it, but the longer I've used it, the less I've enjoyed my experience with it. Number 8, now what we're talking about is really phenomenal products. The rest of these blushes are awesome. This is just where these fell because they are not my favorite formula. So these are from Pat McGrath. These are their new Divine Blush Legendary Glow Color Balm, and the key is the word balm. I don't really like a balmy formula. To me, it feels a little too heavy on the cheek, and typically balms don't dry down. I live in a humid climate. I need a cheek formula that can dry down, whereas I feel like with a balm, it just continues staying wet on the cheek. The packaging is pretty cheap on these for Pat McGrath, but overall for a balm formulation, I could not ask for more from this. For a balm cheek formulation, they did a great job. It's easy to blend out. My tips, if you don't like a wet balm on the cheeks, is to use a synthetic fiber brush. I use the BK Beauty 109 because that kind of soaks up a little bit of that extra glossiness on the cheek. It's a good buildable formula. I really enjoy the formula here. They did a great job of what a balm formula should be like for the cheeks. Just not my jam. I'm going to reach for other products over this because, again, the balm, it ain't for me. Now the three shades that I have, Flirtique, which is the one that I used in my demo. Then I have Peach Lotus, which is probably my second favorite. I really do like this color. And then lastly, I have Sun-Kissed Seduction, which is a warm kind of toasted look. All three of these colors are very beautiful, so no matter what color you get in the range, there is not a dud. They all are equally as good. Number 7, now they have a lot more colors in this range. I did get sent the whole range, but I've been circling around these 3 colors. So these are the 3 that I have experience with from the Juvia's Place Liquid Blush formulation. Oh my gosh. These are so good, especially if you have a deeper complexion. They are most definitely going to have shades that flatter you. I really enjoy this formula. The one tweak that I would make with these is I do feel like they can sit a little thick on the skin. So if you have thicker makeup on, you don't want a thicker blush as well. It kind of adds an extra layer, but overall it's a really gorgeous formula, a really dewy look on the cheek, blends very easily. I think a great price point for what you're getting formulation wise. Love the color range that they have, and they're quite easy to work with. While they do have a heavy pigment, for example, the shade Perky Poppy, I was for certain was not going to work for me. With using just a little bit, oh my gosh, it left the prettiest color. So the 3 colors that I have that I've been swatching from the top to the bottom, Perky Poppy, Rosy Posy, and Soft Tulip. In the demo, I used Soft Tulip, though I do think Rosy Posy is my favorite shade. And I would like to add that these are gorgeous on no makeup days where you have very minimal product on the cheek, because they have such a hydrating look. They just make your skin look so smooth, so dewy. That might not be up everybody's alley to apply this without much makeup on, but I applied just a little bit the other day when I went out and I just wanted a little bit of extra color. I blended out just like a dot of the Rosy Posy shade, and it made my skin look so dewy, hydrated, and delicious. Love that formula. Number 6, we have our first powder formulation, also from Juvia's Place. So along with the liquid blushes, they launched these beautiful blush rougey duos. So how they are, they have this cardboard packaging, you have a mirror, and then you get 2 very large blush shades. I'm gonna be honest, I don't love the packaging on these. They're just very big for only 2 shades. However, I really enjoy the formula of these. In the demo, I used volume 2, so I used like the warm shades, but there are a ton of shades. You definitely are gonna have to look at online, but they're gonna work so well for so many different skin colors. They just have a really great range. Another favorite of mine is volume 4, which has these really pinky tones. I think these are fun to mix together. So just to show you the swatches that I have of these so you can see, I have all done by volume. So volume 1 is this duo, volume 2, volume 3, volume 4, volume 5, and volume 6 if you do want to take a look if you're considering the purchase. So my tips on these applications is that they are a little on the pigmented side, so use a light hand if you're lighter like me, but the formula makes total sense, and I love how blurred these look on the cheeks because they are a matte blush formulation and the shimmers are just so popular right now. It's a nice change of pace to see what a matte blush does and how flattering it is over pores. So really nice, easy to blend formulation. Just be a little bit light-handed because they do have so much pigment. But I've really been enjoying reaching for these, and every time I use them, I'm like, oh, yes, it just finished off that really smooth look over the face. And then number 5, right? Yeah, number 5, halfway there, is from Charlotte Tilbury. I wasn't going to put this one in, but it did make the formulas even out to 10. So we have the Pinkgasm Beauty Light Wand. So this is in the shade Pinkgasm Sunset. So I'm quite familiar with this formula. This is just a new shade. And I love this for summer. It gives kind of like a toasted, burnt copper look to the cheek. I'm not like the #1 fan of this formula, which is why this is ranking at number 5. I think it's a great formula for what it is. It gives a really pretty glow to the cheek, but oftentimes I do prefer something a little bit more mattifying. So these aren't something that I am reaching for all the time, but I do love this shade. If you want a quick, easy liquid blush that's very easy to use, I definitely recommend this, and I do love the shade. And this is how pretty it is, right? I think in my demo, I was struggling a little bit because I had over-applied my foundation since I was swatching so much. So if you want to see it in its best application, check out my review on this with the other products. I believe it's the lip glosses that launch in this collection, and then you'll really see how it truly looks on my cheeks. Coming in at number 4, we have a very affordable formulation. And this is from Essence. It's a Pure Nude Baked Blush. I've got to be honest, this one was difficult to place because I have 8 different colors, and some colors I like better than others. Some are more flattering on me, some are not, some are too shimmery, some have more of a flat finish, so it was difficult to place these, but overall, these are a really great, affordable baked blush formulation. In my demo, I started off by using the shade number 3, Goldie Cassis. Oh, this was not flattering on me, it was too shimmery, the tone was completely off, and then I can't quite remember the other shade. So I'm sorry, a lot of them look very similar on the cheeks, so that's why it's difficult for me to remember. But overall, I think these have a really smooth application, and if you can find a shade that flatters you, you will love these. For the most part, these do have a shimmery finish, but be careful because some are more shimmery than others. For example, today what I'm wearing is the Makeup by Mario blush underneath, which is more pinky, and then I went in with the shade number 1 Shimmery Rose here, which on my complexion barely shows up pigment-wise, but I did want some of that shimmer and sheen to set the cream blush, so I have this over top. So this one, had I put it on my cheek alone, I wouldn't like it, but it's really great to set a cream blush. And then if you're looking for one that has more of a flat finish, number 4, Bold Heart. It still has a sheen to it because it is a baked formulation, but you're not going to have those shimmers or reflex that some of the other shades have. So I'm just gonna turn the lights down so you can see the colors, because these are a little harder to see. So I have number 1, Shimmery Rose, number 2, Pink Flush, number 3, Goldie Cassis, Bold Heart, Pretty Peach, Rosy Rosewood, Cool Coral, and then Berry Cheeks, Cool Coral. Why did I sound so funny saying that? But all of these are pretty close. You can see they're not too different from one another, but there are some differences on the cheeks depending on how much pigment you want, how much shimmer, how much glimmer you want. Overall, I really enjoy this formula. They're very easy to apply. Once you get familiar with what shades do what, these are very useful, and if you're looking for a really great affordable blush, I do recommend these. But if you're more onto like the matte blush scene, these are not going to be for you, but I think these are the perfect trendy, glowy powder blush, and I do think they're so easy to work with. So that's the part that makes these stand out, is how easy they are to blend. And then number 3, I have the new Makeup by Mario Soft Pop Plumping Blush Veils. I ended up liking these more than I thought I did, like at my original first impressions of these. So the first shade, Barely Blushing, not my favorite. It's a little more on the sheer side, but if you're quite, why can I not talk? If you are quite fair, I think you will enjoy this. On me, this was kind of a waste of money, but I love the shade Perfect Pink. It's my base color that I have on my cheek today, and this is the color that I also used in the demo. It has plenty of pigment, but it still isn't overly pigmented. I really like using that BK Beauty 109 brush again to apply it because you don't lose any pigment. It doesn't fully dry down or anything, but it still is, it's a cream with some heft. So it's not too liquidy, it's not too wet, it doesn't act funny over different products. Nothing necessarily stands out about the formula in terms of it being a cream blush. It's just that it's a good quality, reliable cream blush. So I do enjoy these, particularly Perfect Pink. And yeah, they aren't an all-time favorite cream blush formula, but these are ones that I would reach for if I know I want a cream blush formula. I won't be mad at using these. Okay, so the next one, we have a formula that I've totally partaken in the bandwagon situation in terms of recommending, but it's a love or hate situation because these are very expensive, but I do really love the Rosy Glow formula from Dior. They launched 4 new shades. I did a whole video swatching these. I don't necessarily think these are like worth the money. Like they're super expensive, but I always reach for them. So personally for me, I justify that. But if you're looking to save a buck, the Essence makes a lot more sense. However, if you're into luxury formulas like me, I love this. Now, these swatch like juju. In my demo, I am wearing the shade Rosewood. Of the 4 that launched, that one is by far my favorite. But on my hand right here, I have Rosewood, Cherry, Berry, and then Mahogany is at the bottom. For my skin tone, I definitely don't recommend Mahogany. It looked like dirt on me and I had trouble blending it. But the other 3 shades are gorgeous. Now, like I said, they don't swatch very good, and I wasn't sure how they would stand up in these rankings because, you know, the way they feel, sorry, I'm closing them, is a little bit more on the hard side. However, even in the application, on the other side of my cheek, I think I had the Juvia's Place on one side, and then I applied the Dior. The Dior is almost like a watercolor with how it looks on the cheek, and I just prefer that. And I can see if you have a deeper complexion, you might not like that sheer watercolor effect, but for me, with the exception of Mahogany, it just applies so beautiful and soft. It can be built up, but it never looks harsh or underblended on the cheek. It almost blends itself out because it has a watercolor effect on the face, which to me is what makes it very luxurious and different and soft, and it just minimizes time of application. So that's why it did sit at number 2. I wasn't sure coming into this that I actually wanted to give this the number 2 spot, but ultimately it deserved it. Now, let's talk about number 1. This is such a neat formula, and I don't know if it's at number 1 because I truly do love it that much, or if it's just such a good formula for what it is and really unique. But Saie, oh my gosh, they launched these Glow Sculpt cream powder hybrid thingies that quite honestly are amazing and so fun, and the range is very versatile as well. I'm gonna swatch all 5 shades for you, but let me share the 2 shades that I love. So in my demo, I started off with Peach Glow. So this one is really gorgeous, and then I finished off with Pink Glow as the highlight. So these are an interesting, almost putty-like formulation, and I love that because it does have a dry down, which is more of what I'm into. I love that cream start powder dry down finish, though it does feel a little bit more putty. So Peach Glow has this gorgeous peachy to pinky, and then it has like a gold dry down, so that one is gorgeous. And then if you're my skin tone, the other blush shade, since this is a blush video, that they have in the line is Mauve Glow. So this one also looks pretty nice as a blush as well. Now these are an interesting finish. They're definitely different than what we have here because they're almost more metallic, so I wouldn't layer these on too thick because sometimes metallic isn't exactly the most flattering. But in this case, they blend out so nice on the cheeks that they look really good and very subtly glowy. These are products that would look great with a base underneath. So I would use like a Juvia's Place powder, or the Dior is great because it kind of has that watercolor effect that I was talking about. And then just patting a little bit of this on top to give it that shimmery finish is gorgeous. Now some other colors I have to show you, like Quartz Glow, this is more of a highlight. Now these are not necessarily advertised as just blushes, because you can kind of use them wherever you want, however you want, which is why I started off with those 2. Like Pink Glow right here was the highlight that I used, but if you're more fair, you could probably get away with using it as a blush. And then Bronze Glow, for me, I can't really use it as much, but I just love this kind of creamy, putty consistency that has a slight dry down. Very easy to use. It doesn't feel malleable. It's a unique formula, so that's why I'm probably the most excited about these. I think they are so fun and unique and just a nice addition to the makeup market, because blushes can only take you so far. How many formulas and finishes can we have? Because you can't exactly put, it's not eyeshadows. You can put whatever color on your eye. On your cheeks, it's a little bit different. So I'm sure there's a lot of repetition in the market, which is why this Saie excites me so much, because it's just not repetitive. But anyways, I love that one. That one's my most favorite launch right now, the most exciting for me. And I was not expecting that one to be my favorite, but it really has been one that I've been enjoying playing with. It's been a joy to use, but overall, all of these I think have their pros. The only one that I legitimately don't like is probably the NARS Afterglow. The rest of these, I'm very happy to put on my face. I think they're really nice. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video of me ranking 10 new blush formulas. If you've tried any of these, let me know your thoughts down below. Share your skin tone if it's relevant, all of that good stuff. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye guys, have a good one.